Justin Trudeau is getting ready for a sudden influx of asylum seekers at Roxham Road by hiring 2 nurses for the facilities there, which is weird because the Liberals keep telling us that the border is closed. I guess walking across the border illegally is fine, but the rest of us, well, we all have to stay locked in our houses to stop the spread of COVID-19. Did you know that even though Trudeau says the border is closed, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada says 1,390 people in total filed for asylum in Canada in May. So that means nearly 1,400 people came to Canada, likely by plane, and then claimed asylum during the pandemic. And 21 of those were apprehended by police trying to cross the border into Canada. And it's not going to be stopping anytime soon. In fact, I think illegal border crossing is going to heat back up again, especially if Donald Trump wins the election in the United States and then the Liberals and the Democrats to the south of us claim that the United States, the freest place to ever exist on the face of the earth, is unsafe somehow. What a slander. Anyway, here in Canada, the federal government is looking to hire registered nurses to work at the illegal Roxham Road border crossing. It's all very strange because Justin Trudeau, he keeps insisting that the border's closed and that everybody else should shelter in place to stop the spread of the Wuhan cough. Just look at this from buysell.gc.ca. So that's the government's official contracts and procurement website. Health services. Roxham Road RCMP border installation. Description of work. The supplier must provide the services of 2 registered nurses registered to practice in Quebec or the equivalent in Canada. They must provide nursing services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in Saint-Bernard-de-Lacolle, Quebec via Roxham Road, where the RCMP has installed a temporary post. Yeah, I'm sure that's temporary. The 2 resources must provide asylum seekers with a brief health assessment by a certified professional with advanced physical assessment skills. And the contract could go on for at least 2 years. Look at this. Period of the contract. The period of the contract is from contract award to 12 months following the award, with one optional period of 12 additional months. Now, what this means to me is that this new hiring tender, along with the permanent RCMP infrastructure now in place at the Lacolle illegal border crossing at the end of Roxham Road, is that the feds are getting ready to throw the border back open. But it was never really closed anyway. Our reporter David Menzies spent many of the early days of the pandemic at Toronto's Pearson International Airport, just showing the world how many international flights were still landing in Canada, including flights from viral outbreak hotspots in China, Italy, and Iran. And don't kid yourself, friends, the nurses being stationed at the Roxham Road border crossing won't be there to screen and then turn away people with symptoms of the coronavirus just trying to stroll into Canada, because Trudeau has made it clear sick and even visibly sick migrants will not be turned away. As Ezra Levant notes in his best-selling book, China Virus, days after Justin Trudeau claimed that he closed the border to foreigners to stop the spread of the coronavirus and that, quote, any COVID-19 symptomatic travelers will not be permitted to enter Canada, end quote, Trudeau added a massive carve-out in the Quarantine Act that he used to allow asylum claimants, sick or not, to continue to come to Canada. Just look at this massive exemption here. The orders exempt protected persons within the meaning of subsection A 95.2. A protected person is a person on whom refugee protection is conferred under subsection A 95.1 and whose claim or application has not subsequently been deemed to be rejected under subsection A 108, 109, and 114. So basically, that's anyone who claims refugee status before their hearing has been heard, and that hearing can be years from the initial asylum claim. Now, on the flip side, just for fun, let's look at how Justin Trudeau's government treats healthy people who are passing through Canada these days. Say what you will, and I know people are, about American visitors using the gondola in Banff during a pandemic, but these people are in the country completely legally. We know who they are and why they're in our country, and we know they're not sick. They are just stopping through on the way to Alaska, the rest of their country. But Trudeau is threatening these, technically speaking, quarantine breakers with fines of $750,000 and up to 6 months in jail, like what this Kentucky man is now facing, if these people don't strictly isolate in their hotel rooms, while potentially sick migrants are being allowed into Canada every day without fines or charges. And they're being put up at the expense of the taxpayer for months, sometimes years, before they ever see their first Immigration Review Board hearing, if they don't skip it, that is. Justin Trudeau is a serial liar with no intention of ever fixing the problem at Roxham Road that he created with a single idiotic welcome to Canada tweet, meant to poise him as the head of the global anti-Trump cabal. Trudeau created a massive problem that is devaluing our citizenship and rewarding lawbreakers to the detriment of legal immigrants languishing in an ever-growing immigration queue. The solution to the problem Trudeau made is much cheaper than managing this problem forever, cheaper than all of the new buildings built for the permanent RCMP installation at the end of Roxham Road. It's far cheaper than hiring 2 nurses to staff the illegal border crossing. It's cheaper than processing, housing, and then trying to track down the 16,500 people nabbed by the cops trying to cross the border into Canada in 2019 alone. 90% of those at the Roxham Road-Lacolle crossing. The solution is simple. It's a fence, a big beautiful fence, and a new Prime Minister. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Justin Trudeau lied to Canadians during the pandemic. He said he closed the border, but asylum seekers were still coming across. He said that he closed the border to foreign travelers, but we know plane loads of people were coming in from mainland China almost every single day. To learn more about Justin Trudeau's lies during the pandemic and why he was lying, might I suggest the boss, Ezra Levant's new book? It's called China Virus, How Justin Trudeau's Pro-Communist Ideology is Putting Canadians in Danger. You can get it on Amazon while you still can, if they haven't banned it yet, or at chinavirusbook.com.